Cool. All right, let's get started. So, yeah, I really enjoyed being in your class this morning. I know, like, getting to see Emery the last time they had struggled on the last day of drop with the mastery test.
Yes.
So I definitely love like going there and focus on them. And I love seeing your 4-to-1 ratio of you using the scholar points and making sure that we're doing that 4 times for positive, and then the teacher point was only 1 negative. I saw that ratio there and connecting, like when you gave a point, I saw you say 100% answering on signal, and so you're connecting your point to what you're giving it to.
Yes.
So commend you on that, and rated on here advanced for that because it was our last action step. But today I actually want to dive into focusing on setting expectations and redirecting using positive narration.
Okay.
So that's what we're going to focus on today. And I want to show you like the model of what that looks like on the GET rubric. So it's 2C, setting clear expectations. So I want you to go ahead and take a minute and just read the novice and proficient section there. So what do you, tell me more about this. What do you notice are like key steps teachers take when they're setting clear expectations?
You have to be very clear on what the expectation is and expect 100% and don't move on until you do get 100%.
Don't move on until do. Great. And then the difference between novice and proficient is?
Sets clear expectations, actions 80% of the time. This is less than 80%, this is 80%.
And I want to, like, because I know you said don't move on until you do. And so I want to model for you, like, what that looks like. And then we'll talk a little bit more about the gap. So, for example, if I have my script, waiting on, got 100% CDX Star Scholars. Awesome, I have 100% CDX Star Scholars. So I want to think about, so that was kind of a model of that and connecting it to DI. So I want you think about the gap between like what you see here as the exemplar, and the reason I'm pointing back to novice is because basically it's saying you're doing this 80% of the time for proficient.
Okay.
But what do you see as the gap between what we see here in the exemplar and the way that you're currently setting expectations in your classroom?
I'm not using the positives. Like I am, yes, I am giving student points when I finally do get that 100%, but I'm not referring to the positives to help me get that to that 100% like right away.
Yes, right?
Yes.
So definitely. And that is exactly like when I went in, I noticed, and I kept track of like how many times you had errors and how many times you had to recorrect. I noticed each time you were giving the positive narration after you got it, after like the second, third time, right?
But I never went and said, okay, I love the way that she answered right away, or.
Yeah. And so what impact do you think it has to make sure we're like setting clear expectation and using that positive narration?
When you set the expectation clearly and give an example, like they all wanna do it like the first time around.
Exactly, right. And so then that way it avoids having to do like correction procedure over and over. Perfect. Great. So and so that's what the teach boost you got in today was. And you can see that there was actually, you had 34 times at bat and 50% of them had errors due to scholars not answering on signal. It was a big one that I saw there.
Yes.
And I noticed that each of the scholars kind of had some apathy and like how they were responding. I could see the frustration in you when that happened. So based off like the model we talked about and the gap that we saw, what do you think your your next action step should be?
My next action step is to when I'm looking around at my group, like to focus on the students that are doing better and then use them as an example, not by name, but I love the way most of the scholars are sitting up straight and tall and answering on signal right away the first time.
Yeah, and so focusing on the kids who are doing it correct. And it was DI to say not to use names, right, of like specific kids.
No.
Yeah, but I think you can even say like, I love how I have a scholar here who's doing a phenomenal job, sitting like a star scholar. And I like how the front row, I have 100% on the front row.
Yes.
Great, so if you'll pull out your teacher binder
Okay.
and pull out your notes. So I'll make sure we capture everything. And then you can date it. There you go. Mine go missing within like 5 seconds. There you go.
Oh, actually, here it is.
Cool. So yeah, go ahead and take a minute and just fill out the praise that we talked about.
Okay.
And then we'll make sure you got the action step recorded. Yep, giving student points, the 4-to-1 ratio. Like you talked about Erica, right, in PD too?
Yes.
Yep. And that was an action step that we talked about the last time. So let's jump down to the what. So the what is going to be, and we're almost on it, setting expectations and redirecting using positive narration. Because that's a key part of setting expectations, as you saw here.
Setting expectations and
And redirecting using positive narration. And you nailed part of it, right? Focusing on the kids who are doing it and narrating that. But the first part is setting the expectations.
Yes.
So if you'll jump to the how part.
Okay.
And that's the next step I put in here. And so the how is actually first planning, right? What are your expectations? So script out the 3 main expectations you have for scholars during your class. So that's the first one.
Okay. So that is, my number 1 is...
Yeah, and we'll do that now.
No? Okay.
So script 3 main expectations.
Right here?
Uh-huh.
Expectations.
So the second is the first 30 seconds that the group comes to you. So the first 30 seconds, state your expectations.
Wow.
Short and quick, right?
I've never heard this. This is the first time I heard that.
Yeah? Yeah. Well, why do you think that this matters? What impact would it have on your kids?
Because right away they know what you're expecting from them. Like immediately
Yeah.
this is what we're going to do and this is it. Like,
Yeah. And how do you think taking 30 seconds to do that when they come to your group will pay off later?
You don't want to waste time. Like you want to get things going quickly.
Yeah, like kids will know what your expectations are, so that will help you save time later and stop having to like reiterate them over and over, like we talked about before. And the last step on there is positively narrate the scholars, and I just put an S for scholar, meeting those expectations. And the last part of that, and look at the one not meeting the expectation.
Okay.
So that I would just add it on to there.
Oh, okay.
So as you're narrating, right? Like let's say you're
here?
Yeah.
Okay.
And look at the one.
Look at the one not narrating.
Yeah. So for example, let's say I have a student there who's not sitting stars. I love how the scholar is sitting like a star scholar, right? So by actually like looking at the one not doing it. I did the
look, but I didn't like. I did the look at the one not answering, but I didn't refer to like okay, like I know the way this one, but.
Yeah, so you're giving your attention to the people who are doing it wrong, right? When really the kids who deserve your attention are the ones who are doing it right.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so, like before, like, you know, you had connected it, you're praising, like, oh great, I have 100% Instagram signal. But positive narration is a little bit different. Positive narration is, you're looking at the kid doing it right. I love how the front row is all seeing like star scholars, the back row. So those are the 3 things we're going to work on and jump into actually planning and practicing. But before we do that, I just want you to reiterate to me, what is the action step this week?
The action step, first of all, main expectations, right? That were the first 30 seconds that I gave.
So that's the how. Yeah, tell me what.
Oh, okay. Oh, setting expectations and redirecting positive narration.
Perfect. And so how do we do that?
Let me try this. setting expectations and redirecting using positive narration, like right away this within the first 30 seconds?
Yeah, so these steps are your how. So how do we do that?
How? Okay. First would be the 30 seconds, right? To state the expectations.
Well, first we decide what are your expectations, right? So that's what we're going to do now.
Okay.
So script out your 3 main expectations.
Okay.
So that's what you wrote
This
here.
is here. Okay.
So right here, script. 3 main expectations. There. So that's the first thing. We're going to do that now.
Okay.
What's the second thing we're going to do? Once you're in class.
Use the first 30 seconds to state the expectations.
Exactly as we write them. Perfect.
Okay.
And then what's the third step?
To positively narrate students, scholars meeting those expectations. Okay. So
And
right
when you
away,
do that, you're going to...
look at the one not narrating.
Cool. So run for me one more time
Okay.
because I want to make sure we're
Okay.
both clear
Okay.
on what the action step is this
Okay.
week. So what is the what for action step?
Okay. Setting expectations and redirecting using positive narration.
Perfect. And what's the
Okay.
how? How are we going to do
The
that?
how by script. 3 main expectations.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then first 30 seconds state my expectations, and then the third one positively narrating, and then looking at the scholar that is not answering us.
Perfect. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into the planning. So the first thing we said you needed to do was script your 3 main expectations.
Okay.
So I want you to go ahead, and I think I can go grab some sticky notes. What are the 3 most important, and we'll put on sticky notes so that way you can put it on your script
Okay.
as a reminder. So what are the 3 most important expectations when scholars come to your group that you want to spend the first 30 seconds reminding them of?
Okay.
So I'm going to script out some, and you can script out some, and we'll
Okay.
compare and
Sounds
see if
good.
we have some of
Okay.
the same ones.
Okay.
Let's see.
So I'm writing the expectations that I want, that I expect
Mhm.
from them, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I should make sure it's still recording. Okay. Yay, it is. All right. So which ones do you have? You got 2 so far? Or?
So far, I have 100% answering on signal.
Okay. That's
Okay,
what I
I
have.
have 100% the first time.
Okay. I like that.
Okay, and 100%.
100% like correct the first time.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And then what's one more?
Like actually this one I wanted to be like do it the first time. Like when I ask them to do something, anything that I ask is to do it the first time, like immediately.
Okay.
For example,
Okay.
like when I say like touch this or touch that,
there you go.
that's
Okay.
that's what I want to.
That's what you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And this
So
one,
100% first time.
yes.
So do 100% follow instructions.
Yes,
the
follow
first